So I had a few more articles that I love from Beauty on in the show notes, guys. So you guys can definitely read them for yourself. But here's one that I think people should read, and we say this all the time that the Bitcoin price doesn't matter. There's only one way of this game going on, and it's pure adoption of Bitcoin. So maybe Beauty on, you can jump in and elaborate more, and then we can roll this one out.
Well, the price of Bitcoin doesn't matter at all because if you're going to use Bitcoin for sending money from A to B, if you do it quickly enough, the price of Bitcoin fluctuating doesn't have any effect on it. So in that use case, if you have a business that's properly designed, the Bitcoin price is irrelevant because you're using it as a money transport. And that was the thrust of that article, that it is possible to make a business model that eliminates the price fluctuation as a factor in anybody's use of Bitcoin. So if anybody can, well, if I can imagine a use case like that, that means there must be a lot other ones that I haven't imagined, and it just means that people have to spend the time to develop them. So we can't throw out Bitcoin and say that it's useless, it's no good, like that very silly Jemima woman said on the stage of the day, because it's volatile now. And if you've seen a graph of the Bitcoin volatility over time, it's going down like this at like 45 degrees. So eventually the volatility is going to get to essentially zero. And so in order to get there, you've got to build these businesses right now. You've got to start building them, thinking about them, testing them, putting them in front of the public. And as Bitcoin spreads and becomes the money, then one Bitcoin equals one Bitcoin, and a fraction of Bitcoin equals a sneaker today, tomorrow, and 6 months from now, and even years from now. That means you can save your stored wealth in Bitcoin with the sure knowledge that when in the future you want to spend it, it's going to be able to buy the same amount that you stored at the beginning. And there are a couple of nice charts out there in the world that show that a cow, the price of a cow when priced in bit in gold has been the same for thousands of years. So this is going to happen in Bitcoin, where the price of goods over many, many, many decades is unchanging. And that's what happens when you have a sound money in place in the market. And of course, Bitcoin is better than gold because it's mathematical and not chemical. So that's the thrust behind that article. Don't keep mithering on about the price. The price is irrelevant. That Bitcoin actually is what's important, that you can go and download it yourself, be your own bank, quote unquote, send and receive money without anybody's permission instantaneously. That's what matters. And I don't know about anybody else, but if you've been signing up for bank accounts in the last 5 years, it is the most onerous, invasive, horrible, and disgusting process imaginable. With Bitcoin, all that goes away. All you have to do is download one of the ethical Bitcoin apps or download Bitcoin Core if you're that hardcore, and instantaneously you can send money from your laptop or your desktop to anybody anywhere in the world in any amount. And the amount of Bitcoin you have is up to you and how you perform and the services you give to others in the free market. Who could possibly be against that? It's all good all the time. So it's very important not to be distracted by the naysayers, the computer illiterates, the frightened rabbits, the people who have a BA history degree and who work for the Financial Times, who don't know anything about anything about Bitcoin. No, honestly, this you look these people up. They all have the wrong degrees. And you notice that they never get articles written by anybody who's actually in Bitcoin, who actually knows what they're talking about, to
Mhm.
write in the Financial Times, because they know you let these people out into the Financial Times writing something that makes irrefutable sense, it's going to damage the reputation of the Financial Times because they won't be able to justify all the bad things they've been writing
Mhm.
for ages. And also, since I started, this idea that there is two sides to every story, that journalistic objectivity applies to math is insane.
Mm.
There is no objectivity in math. One plus one equals two. It always equals two. It never equals anything else. And Bitcoin is just math. It's not money. It's math on a database. And so there is no there's no two sides to it. There's no objectivity that you can apply to it saying it's not math, it is math. It is exactly what it is all the time. It never changes. And so if you try and bring this journalistic objectivity and nuance and perspective doctrine of this 2022, it doesn't work. It doesn't work with math because math isn't like that. And that's the problem when you have these liberal arts journalists trying to write about mathematics. They're not qualified to understand mathematics. They don't understand the fundamental ideas in mathematics. That it's not about speculation. It's not a science. Actually, it's not even a science because it's not about theory. Math is about facts, and Bitcoin, because it's based only on math, is about facts. And this is what's been missing in the money creation systems of the world since since the world went off of the gold standard. That money isn't based on facts anymore. But now, because of Bitcoin, money is based on facts. It's based on facts even more so than the old money that used to be based on gold because the supply is literally fixed. There's not going to be, you can't go out and discover new gold mines and stuff like that. It's absolutely fixed. It's like a measure on a ruler. And I happen to have a ruler right here. And as you can see here, there are inches on here. These inches on this ruler don't change over time. They don't get
Mm-hmm.
longer, they don't get longer. An inch is an inch, and a centimeter is a centimeter. And that's what's been brought to Bitcoin is an absolutely fundamental, unchangeable measure of value that you can use this database for. And this is the fundamental change that the Gutenberg press that's being brought to economics. It's never existed before. And so even if you don't like it, man doesn't go forward by being frightened. If this really is a new thing that's never been seen before, that could cause beneficial effects for the entire world, including the effect of eliminating waste of the consumer society, this is something that needs to be treated very, very, very carefully. It's not something to be frightened of. It's like saying you shouldn't send probes to Mars because the Martians might get angry and they might come and invade us. You know, it's just not the way it works. So all these people who are frightened of Bitcoin, they need to be quiet. They need to be quiet. They need to stop interfering with the activities of free people who are using this new ruler to measure things that they want to measure. And that's all they're doing. And so if you don't like it, well, you're free not to like it. It's not, some people don't like strawberries. Nobody's going to force you to eat them. And nobody's going to force you to use Bitcoin either. You can't come and tell us not to use Bitcoin. That's what you need to understand. We're not going to stop using Bitcoin because you're frightened of it. It's not going to happen. If we fail, if the fundamental premise and ideas behind Bitcoin are wrong and we fail, well, we're the ones who failed and not you. And the fiat system will carry on and good luck to you. And if we're right, then we have changed the world for the better. And guess what? You get come along for free.